Personal injury attorney Stewart Vance from the Vance Law Firm with us this morning, waiting to answer your legal questions right here on air. As always, tell your viewers what you do, what kind of law you practice.
We help people who have been injured by no fault of their own. That can span the spectrum from a fender bender to a catastrophic tractor-trailer accident or death. It could be on-the-job injury. It could be at a place of business called premises liability, where you trip, slip, whatever, and fell, hurt yourself. Really, anytime you're injured and you didn't cause the whatever caused the injury, then that's worth making a phone call.
And you mentioned a fender bender. Off the top, we are in back to school season.
Right.
That means more parents on the roadways and school zones. That also means more teens. Some teens driving to school for the very first time this upcoming school year.
Well, you nailed it. It's in the school zones, because all summer long we've all gotten used to driving at our patterns, and all of a sudden now those school zones are going to be full of cars, people trying to get to school, and I noticed it this morning that the traffic was already different than it has been the last few weeks. So yeah, it's a good time to sort of know your route, slow it down, make a little more time to get everybody to school, because everybody's in a hurry to get there at the last minute. Bad things can happen, and so I just remind people to sort of check their, the situation in their car. Make the maintenance is a good time to check this time of year. Make sure everything's proper, not just for your new driver's car, but for your own car. Insurance is a key part of that. We talk about that often. Do we have the right insurance? Well, and I'm guilty of this. I didn't add part of my policy to a newer vehicle in our household. We've got a new driver. So a new used car, I thought I had added it, but I was checking things, and lo and behold, I had not. So glad I did, added it to the policy. Make sure you do that, and then make sure the coverage that you think you have is what you have, because you don't want to find out later when you need it, and that's then too late.
What conversations should we have with those teen drivers driving to school for the first time?
I don't know if it's the right, but I would say somewhere in the top 3 things: put the cell phone away. Not just right there when you can see it light up, because then the tendency is to reach for it. I would say put it away somewhere in a console cover, in a book bag, somewhere while you're in the car. We were going over the list of penalties, point system for drivers and losing their license or keeping their license. And the state of Alabama has made a real strict effort to make sure people aren't on their cell phones, because kids can get dinged by an officer that sees them on the phone. Those points carry a lot more weight nowadays, and they can lose their license. So it's just important, 1, for safety, but 2, for their ability to hold on to that license and have the luxury of driving. It's not a right that you have a right to drive. It's a privilege. And so value that as a new driver, and really value that as an old driver. So that's what that message to me and anybody out there.
Some young drivers may not know what it means to have your license suspended or revoked yet, but it's a bad thing. And even just getting a ticket and having to hand it to mom or dad is a bad thing. So take the advice, put the phones down. We have a caller on the line right now, Charles from Montgomery. Charles, what's your question?
My question is, I won't mention the bank, but I have a problem with them not honoring my debit card when there's a balance of $40,000 in the bank.
Well, sorry you're having that problem. A couple of things come to mind. First, change banks. Because just like insurance companies, there are a lot of them out there, and one of them is going to be happy to have you as a customer. Also, maybe go over with your banker what the rules, how the cards work. It may be that they have a different card to service the needs that you have, and it's not just all debit cards may not be the same, and I don't know that, but I would discuss that with your banker. See if there's some other options out there. After all, you just said it's your money. You should certainly have access to it. So I hope that helps. Start with talking to someone, and then worst case, I guess, you can certainly go to another bank and use a different process. So good luck with that.
We have another caller on the line, Lisa from Banks. Lisa, what's your question?
Yeah, I was wondering, you were just talking about banks. My problem with my bank, every month my card gets blocked, but somebody keeps taking my money out of my account, and I don't even know what's going on. So every time I try to use it, it gets blocked. What should I do?
I would stay in touch with the bank, and I'll say to you this, that it's rampant in our city, and what I'm finding in other cities, that there's a lot of problems with mail fraud, which trickles down to bank accounts. If someone is taking a check out that you wrote, or someone wrote to you, whatever it might be, out of the postal service, and they are cashing it somewhere, you may not even know that it's affected your account until it's too late. You think there's plenty of money, you go and, hey, wait, I'm missing some. It happens to everybody, all walks. At our office, we had one where we had sent a client's final payment. They were in bankruptcy. We sent the final payment for them to pay off their bankruptcy after a case, and we closed the file. 3 months later, we find out from the bankruptcy court that, hey, you guys going to send us a check for this client. We'd already done it. It was stolen out of the post office. Another bank allowed it to be, I don't know, cashed or deposited. And so that client didn't get their bankruptcy paid off. We didn't have the proper amount done. So it caused a lot of problems. We've since got it corrected, but it goes to kind of what you were talking about in the last caller. It's important that you stay diligent monthly, for sure, to reconcile your bank accounts and make sure your hard-earned money is where it's supposed to be. So the banks are all aware of these kinds of things, so stay in touch with your banker and stay vigilant to look at what's going on month to month with your policy. And I hope that helps you.
Lisa, thanks so much for calling in, and stay with us. There's more of our Ask the Attorney segment when we come back. Here's that number to call. It's 420-9732.